people wanted to do business in the city of Riverdale. Well, then I got the opportunity to run for Iowa Senate. Been in the Iowa Senate for many years. I am the person that is known, sometimes controversial, but I speak my mind and I do what's best for the people I represent. I have a bill to shut down the Department of Education. I have a bill to get rid of Common Core. And if you don't know, I really don't like those traffic enforcement cameras around there. This is what we need, is someone that goes to Washington, D.C. that does and works for us. It's a public service. It is not supposed to be a career. And I'm excited to take your questions, and I'm honored to be here today. Thank you all for being here.
I forgot one very important thing. If you have a cell phone, turn it off. And now the second speaker is Secretary of State Matt Schultz.
I want to thank you all for being here, for making this possible so that we could come up and talk about our positions and why we're running, and hopefully give you more of a chance to see where we're coming from and make an educated decision. So thank you for taking your time out on a Saturday when it's starting to warm up and you could be doing a lot of things, but you're here, so thank you. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up in the Des Moines area. I'm the oldest of 5 boys. When I got out of high school, I went on a mission for my church for 2 years to Argentina. I came home and I met my beautiful wife, and then went to BYU, Idaho for a couple of years. I transferred to the University of Iowa. I got married in the meantime, and we decided I wanted to go to law school. So I went to Creighton, and I told my wife there's absolutely no way we're moving to Nebraska. So we moved to Council Bluffs, made Council Bluffs our home. And while I was in law school, I had an opportunity to run for city council. And I really wanted to make a difference in Council Bluffs and part of the community. And so I ran. I knocked every door in Council Bluffs, and the citizens of Council Bluffs gave me a great opportunity to serve them for 5 years. It was a wonderful experience. And while I was on the city council, we were pro-jobs, pro-growth city and city council, and I saw things going on at the State House I didn't like. Things like fair share and other things were running through the State House. And that's when the Democrats had total control. And I just felt like I needed to do something. And so I ran for Secretary of State. Because, believe it or not, because I wanted to be an advocate for jobs and for business. Then I realized you didn't have to show an ID to vote. And that really became the message and the things that we've been talking about and fighting for. But never lost sight of the fact that we went there to try and be a pro-jobs and pro-business Secretary of State, and I'm proud of our record and what we've been able to do. When Tom Latham announced that he wasn't running for Congress, it just hit me like a brick. And I looked at my wife, I looked at my 5 children, and once again, I knew I had to do something. And so I threw my hat in the ring with a lot of good people. But I really feel like our country is going in the wrong direction. I feel like Washington's broken. And we need to send somebody to fix it. So a couple of things that are important to me, and that I think that we need to do if we want to fix Washington is, number one, we have to have term limits. We have to quit sending people who go to work for themselves instead of the people. It's interesting. You look at Congress; their approval rating on a good day is 10%. Yet 90% of congressmen and congresswomen are reelected. I mean, it just blows my mind. And some people say, well, the ballot box is a term limit. It's not. It's almost impossible to beat an incumbent. And I know, because I did it. It was Terry Branstad and I who beat statewide incumbents in 2010. I might argue that he was kind of an incumbent himself, but it's not easy. It's because these people get so much power and so much money. And if we want to change Washington, we cannot keep sending people there who work for themselves, not the people. And I really believe in term limits. I also think if we want to fix Washington, we have to control the spending. It's out of control. I mean, I look at my children, they're born with more than $50,000 in national debt. All of our kids and grandkids, how can we keep spending and keep kicking the can down the road? We can't. We have to stop it. We have to send somebody who cares about a balanced budget. Now, I don't just care about a balanced budget, but I think we need a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution to force the president and force Congress to start making tough decisions and quit kicking the can down the road. And if we really want to fix Washington and we want to get jobs, we have to repeal Obamacare. We have to. It's almost $2 trillion of extra spending. And it is making, I'm talking to a lot of business owners who are making tough decisions saying, I don't know if I want to hire more people because it's going to put me above 50 workers. And then I'm forced to make tough decisions and pay extra. And then you see other businesses who are taking their employees and moving them to part-time to try and get under the 30 hours a week. This is not good for America. And it is not good for people and for businesses and for jobs. We want to get people back to work. We need to repeal Obamacare. And that's what I want to do. And you're going to hear a lot of people talk about things, but I've done them. As a city councilman, I cut the city tax levy every year I was on the city council. My first year, the mayor proposed a budget. We cut $1 million out of the budget. And I don't know if that's telling you my time's up.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're going to have time to talk today, so I need to give the microphone up. But again, thank you for being here, and thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Monty Shaw.
Yeah, we've got this on. Thank you to Guthrie County GOP and the old colleagues of mine for hosting today's forum. And I want to thank you and really thank you all for being here today and giving us a couple hours of your time. Because 3rd District Republicans have a huge responsibility. National Democrats had targeted our district, as part of their red and blue program, where they're trying to flip just 17 of the 435 seats from Republicans to Democrats. Because if they do that, the Democrats will take control of the House of Representatives. Nancy Pelosi will once again wield the Speaker's gavel, and Barack Obama will have the same blank check Congress that he had when they passed Obamacare. There will be nothing standing between him and his plan to fundamentally change America. And so you guys know what that means. It means the next phase of Obamacare, more tax increases, more wealth redistribution, a return to the welfare state, gutting our national defense, restricting our gun rights, and even more warrantless spying on American citizens. And another thing would be the cover-ups. They will just be complete. There will be no answers on Benghazi, Fast and Furious, the IRS targeting conservatives. None of that will ever be answered. But you guys here are among the voters in those 17 districts that will decide whether Pelosi and Obama get their way, or whether the House can continue to stand in defense of liberty and our Constitution. And so I think that means there's an extra responsibility that we try to nominate the best candidate, the best Republican to win this election in November. So your choice is about more than just someone who shares our values. Now that's very important, let me stress that. But it's also about a candidate who can win this election in November. Someone who knows you and knows Iowa. Someone who knows how to deal with the mainstream media to actually get our message through. Someone who knows how to mount an effective campaign that will win in November, and someone who can be an effective advocate for you once elected. And so I'm seeking the nomination and asking for your vote today because I believe I best fit those requirements. So let me tell you my story. I know this district well. I grew up in Shenandoah. I attended college in Indianola. I've lived right here in Guthrie County, and now I'm in Polk County. I've been a grassroots GOP county volunteer. I've represented you on the Republican Party State Central Committee. I've managed Chuck Grassley's re-election efforts. I've even served as a deputy national spokesperson for Steve Forbes for president. And when Iowa's ag leaders called and said they needed some help, I returned to my farm roots and became the national spokesperson for the Renewable Fuels Association in Washington, D.C. You know what? It was a great job. And my wife, I went out there, Tina, she had a great job too, working for Rick Perry, Texas Governor Rick Perry at his D.C. office, and helping him out. But when it was time to start our family, we made a choice to come home to Iowa. And it was not to run for office, but it was to raise our kids with Midwest values. because I wanted to know that someday they would feel just as proud as me to say, I'm an Iowa, and I'm from Iowa. So we moved right here to Kenora. I took over the reins of the Iowa Renewable Fuels Association, and we've had some great successes in promoting ethanol, which has really fueled the turnaround of the Iowa economy. So when we talk about helping improve the economy, helping create jobs, it's not just talk for me, it's something that I'm very proud to have been a part of. And so when Tom Latham announced his retirement, we made a family decision to get into this race because of our kids. And the huge debt that is being piled upon the next generations is unconscionable, and quite frankly, it's immoral. As your congressman, I will make dealing with the debt my #1 priority through spending restraint and pro-growth policies for small businesses. I strongly support a balanced budget amendment, lowering taxes, protecting our borders, respecting the Constitution, remembering that the Second Amendment is actually a part of the Bill of Rights, and protecting innocent life. But to help govern, you must first be elected. And this is a swing district. And to win the swing district, our nominee is going to have to be able to unite the Republicans and energize the Republicans while at the same time attracting independent voters. And so I'm pleased that former Congressman Greg Dansky has joined with Guthrie County's own John King, Steve King, Representative Steve King's brother, to co-chair my campaign. No other candidate has my experience in advocating for conservative causes and candidates, nor in dealing with the media, both local, nationally, in some cases even internationally, in pursuit of those goals. I know how to listen here in Iowa, but I also know how to be heard in Washington, D.C. So I'm asking for your support today. I'm asking for your vote. You are a select group of Americans who are going to chart our direction, and I just ask that God bless you as you make that decision, and God bless Iowa.
Next speaker is Joe Grandinette.
Hi, everybody. My name is Joe Grandinette. I'm from Des Moines, born and raised in Des Moines, Iowa. I'm married now for the first time, and I have 11-month-old baby girl. My wife is Chinese, and they are in China now, and they'll be back in about 3 weeks. I'm an elementary PE teacher for 26 years. Windsor Elementary. Urban school, only 77% free and reduced lunch. Coached at East High for 7 years. 2 years as a freshman basketball coach and 5 years as a sophomore basketball coach. I coached at Urbandale baseball, 2 years as a freshman baseball coach. I refereed, umpired, and I had a small business up until last year. I had a sports nutrition store for 14 years. I've helped presidential candidate Steve Forbes, Polk County Chair for Governor Tommy Thompson, spoke on behalf of Lake San Antonio at Merrill Middle School at the caucus night to change the hearts and minds of the people there that night. Folks, I come from a different angle than the rest of the candidates. I'm the underdog. The rest of the folks are political insiders. And I've run for office before. I have won. My closest election was in 1998 and ran for Polk County Supervisor. Lost by 13 votes. So ladies and gentlemen, what I have done with my life has put me in a position to win this election. I am exactly what the Republican Party needs. Diversity. Diversity. I will bring those people under the tent of the Republican Party and to win the election in November. As I look around the audience, I don't see anybody of color. My life has been full of diversity. To the ball players I've coached and the life I've lived. Willie Wise, Doc Pulliam, and Willie McCarter, I was instrumental in getting their uniform retired at Drake University because I was little Joe to them, because when I went to the basketball games at Drake, they took me underneath their wing. And they are personal friends of mine. And the sports that I play and the people that I coach, people can trust me. Trust is a big word. And when you send someone to Congress to go to Washington, D.C. on behalf of yourself, you have to trust them to do the job. Because that's what you're supposed to do. And this gives me the position to win this election. Because of the honor that I've bestowed upon the people that I've met in my life. They have trusted me because I've trusted them. And you think about your own friends in your life, who you can trust. That's what you have in me. You can trust me of the things that I've done in my life, with my life, either being a teacher, a coach, a ball player, in the summer baseball league for 30 years, board member, coach, and ball player, or running for office. You see, ladies and gentlemen, it's not easy to run for office. It's not easy to win an election. Ask Abraham Lincoln. He lost 8 times before he ran for president. But he had the courage to keep going. He's by far our greatest president. Ted Cruz has been ostracized by our own party because of what he did. So if you like Ted Cruz, you like Joe Biden. Ladies and gentlemen, we're all conservatives up here. We might change a little bit on how we do things. But I can bring in people to the Republican Party that aren't Republicans because they trust me and they know that I will do the job. Because of what I've done with my life, they will follow me. And they can count on the Republicans to do the job because I will be their leader. That's very important. Now you think about this. We need people of color, whether it be Latinos that I teach, people from Burmese, the Africans that I teach, the blacks. We need them, and I can bring them underneath that tent. Is my time up? In closing, it's always great to meet people when you go out and campaign. And that's the best thing about running for office, meeting all the nice people. You're doing your civic duty by seeing all the candidates. It's an honor to be here. Thank you very much.
Our final speaker for the opening question or experience, David Young.
Hello. Thank you, David. Thanks, David, for putting us on. And thank you, Dean and Myrna, for being here and your leadership here at the county level. And Clell, thank you for what you do down in the legislature. I'm David Young. I am a 6th generation Iowan. I was born and raised in Van Meter, not too far from here in Dallas County. But my relatives came out here in 1881 from Germany for the American dream, for opportunity, and for those God-given rights enshrined in our nation's most sacred documents. And they settled in Pocahontas County, and they farmed, and they worked on the railroad. Relatives came down here. I have a great-grandmother named Bessie Johnson, who was adopted by a family here in Guthrie County, the Picketts. So I've got some roots here in Guthrie County. But the family eventually moved down to Van Meter. My grandpa and grandma had Young's Cafe. My mom and dad met in Van Meter in junior high, and they got married. And they got married way after junior high. I'll just mention that. And my sister, my brother, and I had a great small town life. You know, paperboy, 4-H, Little League, all that good stuff. Playing in the river, just getting into trouble, but being safe. And I started off at Buena Vista College and transferred to Drake University. graduated from there. Now, Bruce Bailey may not like it, but I did not graduate with a law degree.